Like all modern computer programs, the use of key commands or keyboard shortcuts on your computer keyboard will make really fast work of a lot of different operations within the software, and Cubase is no exception. However, it's really important to understand how I use the modifier keys throughout this and all of my other courses, because they're different on a Windows machine and a Mac machine. For example, on a Windows keyboard, you have the Shift key, followed by the Control key, the Windows key, and the Alt key. Those are the modifier keys. But on a Mac, they're a little bit different. You still have a Shift key, but then you have a no, it's not the fun key, it's the Function key, and the Control key, Option, and Command keys. So they're a little bit different. So throughout this course, you're going to hear me use the Windows key command first, followed by the Mac key command. So if you're a Windows user, listen for the first modifier key that I call out. If you're a Mac user, listen to the second key that I call out. For example, if you hear me say Shift, then it doesn't matter whether you're on a Windows machine or on a Macintosh, because the Shift key is identical. So there aren't any differences between those two different platforms. However, it gets a little bit dicier after that, because when I say Control or Command, the Windows modifier key first, followed by the Mac modifier key. So in other words, when I say Control or Command, on a Windows machine, you're going to press the Control key. But on a Mac, you're going to hold the Command key. So Control or Command. Similarly, when I say Alt or Option, on a Windows machine, you're going to hold down the Alt key. On a Macintosh, you're going to hold down the Option key. And then just a little bit more clarification here. When I say the Function key, that's going to be a Macintosh-only feature, because the Function key is only found on Mac computers. And I'm not going to use that a lot because the Function key isn't used a whole lot inside of Cubase. But then the mouse buttons are also a little bit different, or can be a little bit different, between a Windows computer and a Macintosh, depending on how you have your mouse set up and if your mouse has one button on it or if it has two. Because traditionally, Windows-based computers have had two mice buttons, a minimum of two mice buttons, a left click and a right click. But Macintosh computers have historically had one mouse button, or if it has two, you actually have to go into the system preferences and the mouse control panel to activate the second button. And so for that reason, a lot of Mac users have to hold down the Control key on their computer keyboard if their mouse only has one button to get that same action as a right click. So when I say click on a Windows computer, you're going to press the primary mouse button. So if you are right-handed, you're going to click the left mouse button. However, if you're a left-handed user, then you're going to click the primary key, which in that case, if you have your mouse configured for a left-handed mouse, is actually going to be the right button. However, on a Macintosh, a click is just a single click on the only mouse button that is on a Mac or Apple mouse, unless you've configured it inside of the system preferences to have two buttons. Now, similarly, when I say right or control click, that means that on a Windows-based computer, you're going to hit the secondary mouse button. In other words, if you are a right-handed mouse user, you're going to hit the right mouse button. Or if you're a left-handed mouse user, you're going to hit the secondary button, which would be the left mouse button. However, on a Mac, if you don't have the two mice buttons turned on, then you're going to have to hold down the Control modifier key on your computer, followed by a click anywhere on the mouse button. And now that you know about the modifier keys and mouse buttons, let's talk about the USB eLicenser.